Everyone, I ordered a Tesla Model Y on January 26th, and it looks like I will be financing that vehicle in an effort to short the dollar. So first, I wanted to cover why I'm ordering a Tesla and or why I did order a Tesla back in January. And why now is an amazing time to buy a Tesla based on the technology and the upgrades that they just put into the vehicle. And then I'll cover how I'm financing it. So first, I'm getting another vehicle. Right now, I'm driving the family minivan, a 2010 Honda Odyssey with 228,000 miles on it. That is what I'm literally sitting in right now. And then my wife drives the 2017 Honda Pilot, and my daughter drives the Toyota Corolla. Well, my son is turning 16, and I want him to drive the family minivan because, he's a boy. Boys tend to have more wrecks than girls do. And I figure driving a 2010 Honda Odyssey minivan is a great way for a 16-year-old boy to get started in the world. So he will be driving this minivan for at least a year. And if he can prove to me he doesn't have a wreck for at least a year, well then we'll talk about perhaps upgrading a little. But anyway, that means our family needs one more vehicle, and it's my turn. Well, it's not my turn, but nobody else is, high on having a different vehicle than their one they're driving. And I have wanted to own a Tesla for years now. I just haven't. But one second. But Teslas have all sorts of amazing technology. I actually test drove a Tesla in 2023. Um, and ultimately decided that they had not done a refresh of the Model Y, which was the one I want. It's a little bit taller. It's technically a crossover, but it's really a sedan. I mean, no average person could tell the difference between Teslas. The Model 3, the Model X, and the Model Y all looked exactly the same, honestly, to everybody, except like people who are super into Tesla. Obviously, the Cybertruck looks totally different, but I don't want a Cybertruck. I want something that blends in. I've never wanted a car that turned heads. And right now, Teslas, there's so many Teslas on the road that I figure I can drive a Tesla and nobody will care and it won't turn any heads. And that's just great with me. So I'm getting it looks like a sedan, but it's technically a crossover. It just looks like a slightly tall sedan, but that is the Model Y. So the two main vehicles Tesla makes are the Model 3 and the Model Y. The Model 3 is a sedan, and it's the cheapest model they sell, which is amazingly affordable. And then the Model Y, which is slightly taller, slightly larger, and it's technically a crossover rather than a sedan, but it looks like a sedan. Even though I guess it's a hatchback or whatever makes it technically a crossover. But anyway, so I have been, due to my 6'4" height, I've always wanted the Model Y because it's a little bit taller, it's got a little bit more space, and it rides a little higher off the ground. And so the Model Y was always the Tesla I was going to get if I got a Tesla. But they came out with it about 5 years ago, and it has not had a major refresh since then. The Model 3 went through a major refresh last year. So if you're in the market for the cheapest kind of Tesla, which would be the Model 3, it just went through a refresh. So you can get the very latest technology, latest build quality, rock solid in every way, amazingness for the Model 3. You could get that starting last year. The Model Y is just coming out like literally now. In fact, I drove by the Tesla dealership in Brandon, Mississippi yesterday, and they said only two people in Mississippi had the new, it's called Juniper Edition, with the code name Juniper, Juniper. The new Juniper Edition Model Y just came out, just came out, and only two people in Mississippi have even gotten one so far. And the one that I put a down payment for is scheduled to arrive in the second half of March, so sometime in the next 2 or 3 weeks. And I checked yesterday, and they said it had not come off the assembly line yet. So I'm getting literally one of the first Model Ys for the new 2025 Juniper refresh. There's a standard edition 2025, and then there's the new 2025. If you're buying a Tesla, the new Juniper edition 2025 is the one with all the latest technologies. Insulated sound absorbing glass. It's got all the latest stuff that makes it ride super quiet, absorb bumps super well. Like everything about it is, significantly upgraded. So if you're buying a Model 3, make sure it's the new edition that came out last year. If you're buying a Model Y and you want the latest and greatest and the highest ride quality and the lowest road noise and all that, that is literally coming out like literally right now. The only ones on sale right now are the launch series, which is the first ones that roll off the assembly line. And they're basically, fully decked out with everything from full self-driving and, including they have, full self-driving. They've got launch, I don't know, it's called launch mode or launch boost mode. I don't know what it is, but something that enhances the acceleration a little bit more. Anyway, it's all-wheel drive and it comes with everything, a tow hitch, the whole works. It's got it all. So anyway, that is what Tesla is currently selling for the new 2025 Juniper edition, codename Juniper. Although I'm not sure what the technical name is. It's just the new 2025 edition, not the 2025 edition, but the new 2025 edition that is just coming on the line right now. So anyway, I did not want to spend more than half of one Bitcoin, meaning zero point 0.5 Bitcoin, on this new Tesla. And so my plan was if Bitcoin was above roughly $120,000 per coin, I would just pay for it with Bitcoin outright. But if Bitcoin was below 120,000 a coin, my plan was to finance it. So given the fact that Bitcoin is in the 80,000s, 83,000 right now, my plan is to finance it. So I applied for the financing within the Tesla app, and you can get about 6% financing for, I think, 60 months or 72 months. And then if you jump up to like 84 months, it gets more expensive. The interest rate jumps up. So I just went by Trustmark Bank because I've had an account at Trustmark Bank since 1998, which is, however many years that is, a long time. So I don't know, what is that, 27 years? I've had an account at Trustmark Bank for 27 years now. So I went by the Trustmark Bank to see if I should finance it through Trustmark, and they said their rates are 6% for up to 60 months. And if you jump to 72 months or any amount greater than 60 months, it jumps to 6.25%. So I ran the math, and if you do a 60-month financing at 6%, it adds about 16% to the price of the car. That's 16% to the price of the car. If you finance it at 6.25%, it amortizes it to a total price of the vehicle that is 20% higher. So I did not want to pay those extra 4%, and therefore it looks like I'm going to finance it for 60 months instead of 72 months. I don't actually intend to finance it that long because I intend to pay it off early. And I'm going to just pay it off early when Bitcoin's a lot higher than it is now. When Bitcoin's at higher levels, I'll, make two payments at the same time or something like that to try to shave time off the end of it. Now, do I recommend buying Teslas or financing vehicles at all? No, normally I do not. In this case, even Dave Ramsey would say I can afford a Tesla a gazillion times over. I could easily buy it with cash. I could easily buy it with Bitcoin. Like I 100%, 1,000 different ways can afford a Tesla. I'm only financing it just because I have to short the dollar. I'm like, if people are willing to loan me US dollars and give me a car in exchange at 6% interest, then because I own way more Bitcoin than would be required to pay off that car, and because I own enough US dollars, I could even pay off that car with US dollars if I had to, then it makes sense to short the dollar. And I just can't resist shorting the dollar, even though I could easily pay for that car with Bitcoin straight up right now. I don't want to do that. Plus, I'm waiting for Tesla to accept Bitcoin as a form of payment. They did for a short period in 2021, and they said they would bring that ability back at some point, and they have not yet. And it's obviously 2025, so it's been a while. So if I could pay for it with Bitcoin, and that would end up on the Tesla balance sheet in the form of Bitcoin, then I would likely just pay for it with Bitcoin and let Elon Musk have the upside of that Bitcoin. But if it's got to convert to US dollars to pay Tesla, then I'd rather it convert to other people's US dollars rather than my US dollars so I can sit on my Bitcoin a lot longer. Now, you might be thinking, wait, well, why don't I finance it by borrowing against my Bitcoin? I do not recommend people ever borrow against their Bitcoin. And the reason for that, one second. The reason for that is every time you borrow against a security, you can get what's called a margin call. A margin call is what you get when the value of the collateral drops. So, for example, I could go get a Bitcoin backed loan for, if I were to lock up, twice the amount of Bitcoin that as compared to the price of the car. And they would say, hey, here's a loan. You can, get a loan against your Bitcoin. You can buy the car, and then you just have to pay back the loan over time by liquidating a little bit of Bitcoin as you go. The problem is if the price of Bitcoin drops, you have to put up additional collateral, meaning you have to lock up additional Bitcoin to secure the loan. And if the price of Bitcoin drops fast enough and you get a margin call, it's called a margin call, and you can't meet the margin call, that means your position gets liquidated, meaning they forcibly sell the remainder of your Bitcoin and you lose it. Or you lose, I'm not sure exactly how it works. You lose a big chunk of it. So I don't ever want to get liquidated. So the beauty of financing, whether it's a house or a car or whatever, normally, again, if you have high interest rates, you ought to pay all that stuff down anyway. But I don't have any debt. My cars are paid for. My house is paid for. Nobody at my, all three vehicles are paid for. My house is paid for. I don't owe any debt to anyone at all. So this would be the only thing I'm in debt for. And I figure at 6% interest for a vehicle that I could pay for very easily a bunch of different ways is a great way to short the dollar. So that's what I'm planning on doing. I'm financing this vehicle to short the dollar. I'll pay it off with appreciated Bitcoin in the future. And because I'm financing something that is not Bitcoin and it's not a security, it's literally a vehicle, I can't get margin called, meaning there's no way for that vehicle to lose value. And then suddenly I get a call from Trustmark Bank saying, you got to put up additional collateral or we're going to liquidate. That's just not how auto loans work. I would never finance against my Bitcoin because I could get liquidated and lose a significant amount of Bitcoin. But financing a car where the car itself is collateral seems a lot lower risk. That being said, I've never financed a car. So if I'm missing something here, let me know because I've never financed a car. Every car I've ever bought has been straight up cash, like literally writing a check and walking away with the car. So if I'm missing something, let me know. But the way I understand it is I finance the car, I make the payments. If I don't make the payments, they repossess the car. But if I do make the payments, it's mine. There's no payment penalty to pay it off early. I checked on that, and I'm just planning on paying it off with Bitcoin. That's a lot more valuable than $83,000 a coin. That is my plan. But if I'm missing something or there's some, way that could get messed up, let me know. Because again, I've never financed a car before. Um, so anyway, um, so that's the gist of that. Great time to buy a Tesla if you want the very latest Tesla technology because the Model 3 was refreshed last year and because the Model Y was refreshed literally right now. Like, even if you walked into the Tesla dealership and said, I want a brand new Model Y Juniper 2025 edition, latest and greatest today, they would tell you that car has to wait to roll off the assembly line. They don't even have any on the lot. The Tesla dealership in Rankin County in Brandon, Mississippi. They're like, we don't have any on the lot. And the two we've sold, the person showed up and got them immediately. Each of the two different owners showed up and got them immediately because everybody's so excited about this new edition. So great time to buy a Tesla. Great time to short the dollar. Although, again, don't ever borrow money that you can't easily afford to pay back, infinitely easily, which in this case I can, which is why I'm comfortable doing it. So if I'm missing something, let me know. But I am here to serve as always. And I'll give you I'll show you what it's like to drive a self-driving car when this Tesla finally shows up in the next 2 or 3 weeks. I'll do a video about it because Teslas are super cool and full self-driving actually works. And you don't have to touch the steering wheel. You don't have to touch the pedals. You don't have to do anything, which is pretty amazing. So, but that's the quick story on that. Let me know if you have questions. I'm always here to serve. Thanks.